architects, and welcome back to another RPG Architect tutorial. My name is Bert, and today we're going to be adding in something that's probably pretty crucial to first-person projects, and that is line of sight interactions. So if you're walking around your spooky horror game and you see a key on the desk, you want to be able to look down at the desk, look down at the key, and get a little pop-up that says, press E to pick up, or something like that. Or if you have to close 8 windows before the monster gets in, you walk up to the window and press space to close window, whatever it may be. So that's what I want to set up today. It's actually pretty straightforward. Real quick before we jump into it, I gotta shout out and thank Mondoon for jumping on a call with me and helping me troubleshoot. We were overcomplicating it, but it ended up working out pretty nicely. So if you're not in Discord and you're not working with the other members on troubleshooting problems, you're missing out, because there's a lot of really talented, good people in there who will sit there with you and try to learn, because it helps us all out as we sort through these problems together. So anyway, that's my nice little speech for the beginning of the video. Let's jump into the lesson. So first up, let's jump into our database as usual, and what we want is actually a projection. We need a line of sight to see what we're looking at and to interact with that, I guess is the way to say it. So it's real easy. Let's just create a new projection. We'll call it interact, and we're just going to add a line. That's all we needed. I was trying some crazy methods. All we need is this line. Now, if you want to adjust the distance of your line, you can do so here. I think I might add one. I might make mine 1.5. I just had it as 1 in the tests, but 1.5 will probably be pretty good. You don't need any modifier or anything like that. This is good. Next up, I'm going to come down to my virtual keys while I'm here. I'm going to go to my confirm key, and I'm just going to add an extra mapping. I'm going to add E, so now enter and E are my confirms. Spacebar is here as well for the default, but I have my space bar being used for jump, so I went ahead and took that off, so I'm not confirming things while I'm jumping through the air, right? If you want your interact button to have some more scripts going on, some more like conditionals or flipping switches on and off, just create a new virtual key and map these to it, and you're good. Okay. Next up, what I want to do is I need to spawn that projection whenever I enter my map. So I'm actually going to use this entity here, because this one opens up our HUD and then it turns itself off. Now, at first I was trying to spawn the projection here just on this page, but I was kind of running into some issues. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to keep this page just as it is. I'm going to add a new script after this one. I'm going to call this interact on. The condition, since I already turned local switch A on, I'm going to set this to be if local switch A is on, then automatically spawn projection. My interact origin should be party. You don't have to store the ID, okay? And then I'm going to have a switch local B turn on, and then for my last script, the conditions will be local switch B is on. Okay, so this script will turn on my HUD, and then it'll go to here, it'll turn on my projection, my line of sight, and then it'll turn on this one, and it's not constantly running that script unnecessarily. They're just one and done. So let's hit OK. All right, and now we have the mechanics basically in place. All we need is something to interact with. So you could just do it directly on the map. You could just say you have a key here in this spot. You could just come here and build out the key. But if you're going to be doing several of these, as usual, it is a good idea to use entity definitions. And even if the interactables are going to be different, again, like if it's a key or a window or a chest or whatever that you want to look at, you can set up the basic scripting in the entity definition, and then you can go into each individual entity on the map and adjust the graphic. So let's do a new definition. We'll call it interactable thingy. The funny names return. So let's do one script called annotation on. The interaction is going to be projection interact. And what I want is to play or to show an annotation. So I'm going to use my search bar because I always forget that's there. Annotations, it's under the animation section. And then the origin, or the target rather, is going to be self. So it's going to appear over top of this entity. And let's add a text element. The text is going to be persistent, yes. And down here at the bottom, this is where you type in, press E to pick up. Pick up, spell correctly. There we go. I'm going to make the font a bit bigger, make it visible. I'm going to go 48. You choose your font family. I only have the one going here. I'm going to adjust the world offset. This will just be fine-tuning this in whatever color you want. I found for this example 0.05 will be good because it just kind of lifts the text off of your entity just a little bit, just enough to where it's still positioned with it, but not flying a mile above whatever you're looking at. Okay, so that's all we need to do on this script. I'll set up a sprite model here in a second, but really the more important thing is we need to make sure we set a collider. I had a hard time getting capsule to work with it for some reason. I was just not getting good results, but sphere and box seem to work pretty well for this particular thing. So I'm gonna do that. You know, if you're making NPCs and stuff, capsule seems to be the way to go, but for this, sphere worked out pretty good. So I also have ignore entity collision and register collisions on. I tend to turn those on a lot. You don't have to have those on necessarily if you want to be able to run into the thing. Like if you want to be able to press up against it and not push it or whatever, or not be moved, you know, just leave those off, but I'm just going to leave it on. And I'll go ahead and add a graphic here, a sprite. So let's do doodads. Go to the final boss. Let's see, I think he had... Yeah, let's do this chest here. So let's do One Direction, not the band. I think I've made that joke every time I say that. 16 by 16. That one. Since it's going to be a closed box. Yeah, and we got all that. Should be good. Okay. Next, we're going to make a new script. And we're going to call this one annotation off. And what I want this one to do is just wait for a baby second, like a very baby second. I'm going to do like 50 milliseconds. Do not block input. It's just to not lag. And then remove annotation self. You don't need to have include script page annotations. That has to do with the annotations here. And you might be wondering, why am I using the annotations in the script commands rather than the ones built into the script? I just seem to have better luck with it doing this way. So maybe I did something wrong when I was trying with that. It's very possible. But yeah, this seemed to work out better for me, so that's what I'm doing. And then this script, we just need it to run automatically. So we still have our graphic up there. We still have our collider. So what this is doing is when your line projection interacts with this entity, it shows the annotation. And as soon as it's not, automatically it removes it. Okay? Makes sense? So let's take a look and just see what that looks like. We are on our map, and let's add interactable thingy. That's behind us. Here we go. Let's walk up to it. There we go. Okay. So we got some text on it, and you can see when we back away, we get a little out of range for our line. It goes away. Probably need to have it a little bit further of a line so that you can see it here, but it is working. Okay, so now we just need to add in a pickup script. Okay, so I'm gonna do one more script. I'm actually gonna put it up top, and I'm gonna call this pickup. And the interactions for this, we can leave it as player action button because we used the pre-built confirm. This is basically the player action button. So since we used that, we can leave it here. If you use a different key, you would want to do virtual key and then pick whichever your key is, right? But we will leave ours as player action, and we also need a second interaction condition of projection interact. So this is basically saying that as long as you are looking at the item and you hit the action button, then we're just gonna do something simple. Play sound effect. Let's do interface confirm 5. Yes. Play a sound effect, and let's remove the entity. Remove entity self. Now you could do, if you just want, say we're doing the open chest, rather than remove entity self, you'd probably just want to change the graphic and flip the script page over to something to where the open chest remains, but there's nothing, there's no possible way you could get back to these scripts. Does that make sense? But for this example, I'm just gonna have the entity delete itself, okay? And I think that's all that she wrote. I think that's all I need. Yeah, okay, so let's just give it a go. So I see it, I walk up on it, I see press E to pick up, I get away, it goes away, I'm up on it, press E, I get a sound effect, and it's gone. There we go. Cool. And like I was saying earlier, if you want, so let's add another entity reference, a different interactable thing. Say you wanted this one to be the box, and you want this one to be something else, you can right click and convert to entity, and now you see a new entity popped up over here. Now we can double click it, and we have our script all in order, and we can change the graphic. We can add different conditions. If it's the switch that it controls one specific door, you can pop that in there. All kinds of cool things, right? So yeah, that should do it for now. That actually opens up the doors for a lot of really cool things. I wish I had got this one done in October for all your spooky game ideas, but because now, think about it. You can walk around, you can look at stuff, you can pick up items, you can do like a very fun little indie horror game experience where there's not like a ton of combat necessarily. You could throw that in if you want, but just one of those games where you just walk around and scary stuff happens, and then the YouTubers go and then they give it 5 stars at the end, and you like and subscribe, all that stuff. So anyway, that should do it for me for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to like and subscribe. Smash that like button. If you haven't got your copy of RPGA yet, it is still in early access. Be sure to grab it while it is and help us grow this engine. We are at 80% of the way towards 1.0. I think we just crossed that threshold, so should be should be any time now that we hit that 1.0. It's coming. It is coming. It'll be here soon. If you would like to support the project further or support the channel, you can become a member here on YouTube. You can also become a member in Discord. And like I was saying, if you're not in Discord and you're not interacting with the other folks there and learning together and, you know, jumping on calls or just jumping in chats and just helping each other troubleshoot, you're missing out, man, because there's a lot of really good people there who are figuring out, you know, they may be figuring out this problem and you're figuring out this other problem, and then, you know, you just share that info and everybody gets better and all that good stuff. So if you've enjoyed my tutorials, my commentary, and you would like to support me personally further, then you can do so by becoming a Patreon supporter at patreon.com/bitbybitsound. Or you can pick up some of my music packs at bitbybitsound.itch.io or other places. Just shoot me a message and say, hey, thanks, Bert, you're amazing, and that'll be nice. All right, y'all, that's it for me today. I hope you have a great rest of your day. As always, you have been amazing. I have been Bert, and I will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.